Hey everybody, it's me again. So last video we talked a little bit about what to do if you are panicking about curriculum. I want to talk today a little bit more about what a homeschooling day actually looks like and answer some of those kinds of things. Like, okay, you've got your curriculum, that's fantastic. It's sitting in a box on your bed, now what am I actually doing? Don't worry though, I'm going to circle back around to curriculum. There is so much to be said about curriculum. If I haven't mentioned it before, homeschoolers love to talk about curriculum. So if you still do not have a curriculum, it doesn't matter because you do have a curriculum. Remember, you have my in case of emergency smash glass curriculum. You'll be fine. I did realize I forgot to add spelling to that. I have a spelling program I really like, but it does cost money. So again, quick and easy, print spelling lists off the internet. If your child is in tears because they cannot figure out the spelling and you don't necessarily know the English rules to teach them, or let's face it, English is a crazy, crazy language to try to learn, and rote memorization just isn't working for you. Honestly, I would shelve spelling for a little bit until you're a little bit more comfortable with the homeschooling thing and then pick it back up. I don't mean just ignore spelling. Say your child's writing something down, they ask you how to spell it, tell them how to spell it. But if it is a super stressful point for you and your kids, which it can be, I would just put it off for a little bit until you kind of have your footing a little bit more. But, starting out, smash glass, if you want to add spelling in, just get spelling lists off the internet. Okay, so that was a lot of talk about curriculum when I'm saying I'm not talking about curriculum. Here's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about what an actual homeschooling day looks like. And so the obvious answer is the same thing that I'm going to keep telling you all the time. It depends on your family. No homeschooling day looks the same. That being said, there are some things that homeschoolers tend to do similarly often. So I'm going to walk you through some of that stuff and answer questions like, do my kids have to put on clothes? Can they do school in their jammies? So let's start talking about a typical homeschool day. Again, I have 7 kids. I live on a hobby farm and I have special needs kids. So we do not have a typical day. There is no such thing as a typical day. I'm guessing you don't have a typical day either. But to start out a homeschooling day, I'm going to say even before the day starts, here's what you need to think about. 2 things. One, what are you going to do for the day? So ideally, the night before, you have some kind of plan about what you're going to do for homeschool in the next coming up day that we're talking about. Okay, so some kind of organization, whether it's a schedule that you literally purchased with your homeschool curriculum, whether it's a calendar you have printed out, even if it's this vague idea in your head, that your kids really have got to start learning how to count. I mean, we really got to work on that. Okay, so then that's your number one priority. Honestly, I'm going to talk a little bit about what to do if you don't have that. But for right now, it's best to start the day with some kind of plan of how the day is going to go. How detailed that needs to be depends on you and your family. If you're hardcore unschoolers, you maybe don't need much, but you do still kind of circle back to, oh yeah, my kid had that question yesterday. Hey, did you still want to find out? Okay, so you start your day with some idea of what you want to do, ideally. This is a perfect homeschool day. Okay, so in our perfect homeschool day, we are organized. This is my organization, as a matter of fact. I'm just going to hold this up for you. This is my brain, and this is what I've got. I do use Evernote to kind of keep track of things as we're going, and I sometimes write up curriculum in Evernote. But on a day-to-day basis, like what are we doing today? What are we doing tomorrow? This thing is full of scribbles and checklists and arrows when we didn't get things done, and I'm trying to this is my brain, and look how, I mean, you can't read my handwriting, I'm sure, but it's not pretty. It's not anything special. I love these, just they're sketchbooks. That's all they are, and I have a ton of them filled up. That's the best tool. I've tried, all this is getting way off track. I've tried all the really pretty homeschool organizational stuff, and I always come back to my beloved sketchbook. Okay, so scribble something down. Don't scribble something down. Some days I don't, but I have some idea in my head of where the day should go, usually. All right, here's the other thing that you need before the day even starts. You need to know what you as a homeschool parent need. All right, so the bottom line, like, I am not going to be homeschooling if I have not had my coffee. All of the kids know it. My husband knows it. If for some reason there is no coffee, there will not be homeschooling happening. You know, it's just what it is. So if you know personally that you need your coffee, do not try to start homeschooling before you have had your coffee. Do not do that to yourself. Do not do that to your children. If you know that you need a shower to start the day and feel good, make sure that you have a schedule and a plan about how you're going to get your shower, especially if you have younger kids, and maybe you're a single parent and you don't know, schedule that time in and come up with a real plan of how that's going to happen, whatever that needs to look like. So whatever it is that you need to make yourself feel functional and healthy in the morning. Is it enough sleep? Oh, that is not. I'm not sleeping enough right now. So, but whatever it is that you know that you need, prioritize that. Obviously, we all want to be perfectly mentally healthy. If I could get you there, man, I would be rich. But the small things that you know you need to function well, make sure you prioritize them and you have a plan for them. If you need a shower, if you need 15 minutes of quiet, if you need to do your devotions, whatever it is that you need to do, you need to make sure that you have a plan to do it before you even start your homeschool day. Okay? So, for the actual homeschool day, do your children need to wear clothing? Yes. My personal opinion is it's best to have them change into clothes and not wear jammies. Have there been many, many days when my children wear jammies to school? Yes. Did they still learn things? Yes. Do I still think it's better for them to get dressed and brush their hair and brush their teeth so they feel like humans? Again, yes. Tell your kids to get dressed. If they ask why, tell them the internet lady says that they have to feel like humans. That's what I tell my kids, so that you feel human, so that you know that you're up, you know that you're functioning, you know you're ready for the day, even if you're not leaving the house. Again, if they don't get dressed, they will still learn. They might not feel like humans, but they will still learn. Okay, so most homeschool families that I know, and I'm thinking online school might be the exception to this, although I think it would still benefit, have some sort of an initial check-in gathering time. So you can make that whatever you want. There are times when in our family that has been like the majority of our schooling. We gather together, I read books, we do answer questions, like spend a good hour and a half on that before I do individual stuff. And that's really kind of been the core of what we do for that day. There are other times when that initial gathering really is just a 5-minute, hey, you know what, this is what's happening today. We've got these things going on. I expect you to get this done by this time. Again, my kids are kind of older now at this point. And at some points, I want to do a video talking about older kids and younger kids because it is different to school different ages kids here. Anyway, so it can be whatever it needs to be for you. It does not, again, have to be gorgeous and fancy, but it can be. People talk about circle time and morning time, and people pull together all kinds of really cool stuff. Do some yoga together. It doesn't have to be formal sit down school time, but what it does is get you all on the same page in the same place. It lets you as the parent kind of take the temperature of the room, is what I want to say. So at this point, I'm noting, oh, that kid is not acting normal. Something's up. So then I know as the day goes on to keep an eye out. That kid might melt down when it's time for math because they're just feeling off today. Something's not right. These two kids are not getting along. I don't know what their issue is. I do not know what happened while I was taking that much needed shower, but they are not functioning together. So maybe don't leave them in a room together alone. Or maybe before we go any further with school, we sit down and we talk out what is going on. So again, I use that time when we gather together, sometimes literally to teach for quite a long amount of time, and I can give you all some tips if you want to do that. If you want your kids to do their work individually, or if you work and you need your kids to do their work individually, this is the time to say, hey, you know what, do this page, get it done by now, I expect it done by dinner, or, hop on the computer and start your online stuff, whatever it is. But it gives you all the opportunity to be in the same place at the same time so that you know that you're ready to start your day and what's expected of everybody. And it gives you as the parent an quick heads up about what the day might bring. Now, it's never going to bring what you think it's going to bring, but it does give you the ability to kind of pay attention to some areas that might blow up. Or, some kids, sometimes it's everybody's in great shape today. Awesome. Let's pull out that like really messy craft that I wanted to wait till people could handle. It doesn't have to be bad stuff. But that's why I like to gather at the beginning of the day. Again, if your family cannot gather at the beginning of the day, don't do it. Maybe you have a check-in in the evening. Hey, how'd the day go? Did you get that thing done that you were supposed to get done? No? Oh, what went wrong? Okay, well, tomorrow let's do this instead so that you can get that thing done. Doesn't have to be at night, or it doesn't have to be in the morning. If for some reason you don't want to gather as a family, Maybe two of your kids really, really hate each other and they really, really, really need to not be in the same room. Okay, meet with them individually. 5 minutes. Hey, how are you doing, kid? All right, here's what you do. Other kid, okay, how are you doing? Here's what we're going to do. Again, tweak this for what works for you. You do not have to do what I'm saying just because I'm telling you to do it. But I have found that gathering together to have a basic plan works best. Past that, obviously, it's really going to depend on what your curriculum and your family needs. So again, you might be working while your kids are doing their schoolwork. So that gets pretty flexible after that. So quite frankly, from that point on, besides meeting together at some point, be creative. Find what works for you guys. Do your kids have to do school, in the homeschool room? No, especially if your kids are older and they have a laptop. Maybe they do homeschool sitting on the porch on their bed if they can function. There's a whole lot of one of the things in my family is, you show me what you can handle. So if you can handle doing homeschool in your room, go do homeschool in your room. If I'm going to find you in your room watching YouTube and talking to your friends, then no, you do homeschool where I can see you. But get creative, You don't have to do homeschool inside. Go outside. If it's gorgeous outside, go outside. Again, if your kids can't stand each other, send one child outside while you work with the other child. Whatever it needs to look like for you is really fine. That's why the homeschooling thing, man, because you have the freedom to make those choices. So a typical homeschool day is going to look honestly like whatever you need for your typical day. And the advice I would give all of you, if you're coming to homeschooling from public schooling, is to do the best that you can in the beginning, to set yourself up to succeed by not expecting it to look like school at home. And I feel like that runs counter to all of the advice. Keep schedule, make sure your kids know what's coming next. That's all good. The thing is, homeschool does not take as long as public school does. So if you think that your plan for the day is going to be, okay, we're going to sit down, we're going to do school, we're going to have a snack break, we're going to sit down, we're going to do school, you're going to get burnt out and you're going to get stressed because on paper, all of those plans look really good. I don't know anybody that can follow them well. I'm lying. I have one friend that I can think of who probably spent the entire last year homeschooling her kids, Anyway, that's getting way off track, guys. Sorry. I do have one friend who can probably make that whole public school schedule at home thing work. That being said, most people can't. It's stressful. It's a lot. Not because, it's just because it's not school at home. It's homeschooling. You're homeschooling. So, your kids don't have to sit at a desk. They don't have to sit at the table. Unless, they can't function. And then they do need to do that. You get to decide. You get to choose. But my biggest word of advice past gathering together and past setting yourself up to succeed as the parent is do not expect it to look like school at home. Do not find a pretty internet schedule, that says we're going to do this and then we're going to go walk around the block and then we're going to come back, because real life never looks like that. And when it doesn't look like that, you're not going to know what to do. You're going to get off the rails and it's going to feel like I'm still off the rails. Do I go back and do the last thing I was supposed to do, or do I just, now it's 4 o'clock and, my kids are still wearing pajamas. Days are like that. It's going to be what it is. But set your curriculum up to succeed for your family in your house and what your curriculum needs you to do, not what a pretty internet school at home schedule tells you to do. This video is already way longer than I want to take up you guys' time, so I'm going to stop with that and I'll come back later with some more thoughts for y'all.